It's Real Fit Radio with B.
And J.LOU.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you're a returning listener, welcome back.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Friendship isn't about who you've known the longest. It's about who walked into your life, said, I'm here for you, and proved it.
How do you feel about that statement?
I think it's true. A lot of times people do make the mistake of thinking just because somebody was in their life since childhood, they think that constitutes friendship, when actuality it's exactly what the quote said, is whoever exemplifies those qualities of what a friend really is.
I was taught that friends are to be used, not misused. My mother would say, get, give, or get off. Friends are to be used, not misused. And if your friend is not getting or you're not getting, it's always like a back and forth. You're either getting, they're getting. You're giving, they're giving. If that's not happening, then you guys shouldn't be in that friendship. It sounded really cold when I was younger, but I kind of agree with it now more. Not fully, because I don't feel like someone should be discarded because they're not giving to me in a certain way. Sometimes you're just there, you know? I mean, they're your friends, but I do believe that you guys should be assets to each other, and I believe in the whole iron sharpens iron thing. So we should be making each other better or assisting each other, you know, reach goals and things of that nature. So yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Going back to how I was taught, I've been having this whole thought process on the words nigga and nigger.
Whoa, what?
Yeah. Yeah. I was taught different. You know, we see stuff in the news. You and I had a conversation a while back. I was thinking about it today. It's a very touchy situation, especially, you know, if you're not in the Black community. And now we're seeing for some people within the Black community or African American community, it's an issue. Don't call me that. I was taught that nigga could be anybody. I remember we were in the store and there was a cashier and she was white. She gave my mother change and she put it on the conveyor belt. And my mother picked it up and said, you know, did I hand it to you like that? And she said, I'm going to give this back to you. Now you give it back to me. And the lady kind of looked. And so she said, you need to hand me my money the way I handed it to you. So she gave it back to the lady, the cashier, and the cashier gave it back to her.
Boss.
When we got in the car, she said, niggas. Oh, I can't stand these niggas. And so I heard that as a little girl, you know, and that was a white woman. And then as we got older, and we had a lot of Black history that my mother taught us at home. You know, we learned about stuff that we weren't learning in the books, you know, different things that were going on, different movements, stuff I don't even remember until someone brings it up. And it's like, oh, I've heard about that before. So my mom was real big on giving us additional information that she felt wasn't going to be taught to us in school. But the word nigga, my mom would use that word like ignorance. And I never looked at nigga as it being derogatory towards just the Black person. Nigga to me is ignorance. First of all, if you don't know me, you shouldn't be calling me anything other than my name.
I agree.
Yeah, or you should be asking my name. So you don't get to call me honey, baby, sugar, bitch. Like that's another one we could throw in there. I hear other women refer to each other, bitch, bitch, bitch. So I'm just throwing this conversation out there because it's a very touchy topic. Kyrie Irving got offended when one of the other basketball players, you know, he's like, dang, nigga. And Kyrie, don't call me that. And it was like a whole thing back and forth. So I guess his issue was, you know, you tripping about that. You know, it's not even like that. I wasn't calling you a nigger. Would you have acted the same way if he had been like, bitch, you know, bitch ass nigga? I think you give a word power. Again, shouldn't be calling me anything other than my name, because then I'm looking at tonality. You know, if you walk up to me and be like, this girl over here.
Yeah, all of it can be taken as a sign of disrespect depending on tonality and use of word in a sentence.
Right.
Like spelling bee.
Right. So if someone said, this girl over here, this woman, but if somebody called me a girl and they were referring to me, it could be like, what girl? I'm a grown woman. You know, it could get real touchy.
Well, here's another nugget. Boy can be used as a derogatory term. I mean, I've seen on many movies, Color Purple, Roots, calling grown men boys. So it really depends on how the words are used, because anything can be taken out of context. And as far as the incident between Schroeder, that was a guy, he played for the Lakers, and Kyrie Irving, granted, I don't necessarily know if Kyrie's ever used the word, if he ever felt comfortable with people saying that. I just know that he's on a new enlightenment type road for his life. So a lot of things have transitioned for him. So I guess he took that as a sign of disrespect. Did I really agree with it? No, I ain't really agree with it. I think it was just more or less you guys was in a spur of the moment. It was a foul that happened. Kyrie was in his face, and dude was like, damn, nigga, why you all up on me like that?
But that's the part that I feel like.
That's why I said it was kind of taken overboard. Like, you are in the dude's face. I would tell you to back up.
But
that was his way of doing it.
Right. But that's the part where someone acts like they've never heard this before.
Mm-hmm.
If Schroeder said to Kyrie, "Get off of me, you nigger," and he's black, it might have been like, what? Like, it might have kind of threw him like, what you call me? Because people know what that word is. We know where it comes from. And it's like a hard ER, you know?
That would have been really fucking funny to me, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. Schroeder is 3 shades darker, like steering wheel black, compared to Kyrie. So that would have been fucking hilarious to me in my dark humor that he would have said that, and he's that color, black.
I don't care, black, white, indifferent. You know, maybe it would have been different if Schroeder was like, Kyrie, get out my face. If he had just called him his name. Kyrie has a right to say, I don't like that.
Facts.
Boy, girl, nigga, bitch, whatever word it is that he doesn't like, he can exercise that right. But I think we give it way too much power. And I know they talk crazy to each other when they're on that court.
Oh, yeah.
That whatever that guy was that one year when the championship, he blowing in the ears. I seen dudes flopping before. I know they talk crazy to each other. It's trash talk, all kind of stuff. In your whole career, nobody has ever said that word to you.
Right.
And would you have that much frustration if he had called you a bitch? I think that we need to focus more on the intent, and then I can decide how I deal with it. I think other ethnicities don't know. You have people that are listening. We had a conversation one time where it was a Kendrick Lamar concert. He called, it was like a white boy up on stage, and the guy singing the lyrics.
It was actually a girl. And she got up there, you know, she was spitting the lyrics like any other fan. She was going word for word. And she said nigga in the words, which was in the song. And he was like, ho, ho, ho. And the song continued, and she continued to spit the lyrics. She was still on point with all the lyrics. Word nigga came up again. She said it again. He was like, yeah, get off stage, get off stage. And the whole discussion that we had, I mean, it is part of the song. That's what you said. And that's what.
No, I'm not with that. And we can have that conversation. First of all, I paid for a ticket to your concert. You know the type of music you put out. And so let me get this straight. You call me on stage and I'm supposed to know not to say that word. So if they weren't white, if they were Hawaiian, could they have said nigga? If they were Indian, could they have said nigga? If they were, anything other than white, could they have said that?
Good question. I don't really know.
How about give her the refund for the ticket and make a whole version for white people? This is your version of the Kendrick Lamar song. And play that version when they pay for those tickets to come to your concert. Kendrick has black, white, Mexican, all color fans. He knows he's got songs that have nigga throughout it repeatedly. So what I would do if I was having a concert and I knew that all those colors, I wouldn't put the person on the spot. I'm going to do it accordingly, right? Because I'm going to keep it like, let me make sure I don't make it hot for you. But you want me to spend my money, buy the version you put out that says the word nigga and not say it, and it's a part of the song. Why can't I? It's the lyric in the song.
And they bobbing out to you, yo joint.
Let's say it was a concert and it was Eminem. I'm just going to say a white rapper. And he was like, because I'm rolling around shooting all these niggers. That's a whole nother tone, right? Whoever said it, we know the intent, the tonality, the word, everything. You can't pick and choose. Then make it to where they can't even buy it. Why can you get money from them for it, but they can't say it? I always feel like it's a double standard. You can't offend me
if I don't let it.
Right. But also, I need to know the intent. Because if a black person calls me a nigger, a nigga, a bitch, and I know they're trying to offend me, I know what you're trying to do.
So it's the same offense as somebody else saying it in the same tone.
And not because I'm associating nigga with the word nigger, I'm associating it with that I'm being ignorant. You can't walk up to me and say, bitch. Hey, bitch. And I'm supposed to be okay with that? We're black. Like, hey, hey, bitch. Bitch. Like, somebody else would say, but you know what they mean. Well, you know what they mean in that lyric where the word nigga was. And you know what they mean when it's like, nigga, really though? Really?
Yeah.
It's a frustration, or it's you acting real ignorant, or whatever it is. But I think people pick and choose when they want to really like the bullhorn and rally and start going in hard about, don't say that, and you shouldn't do this, and you know what that means. And it's like, okay.
Exactly.
To you.
Exactly. Because when I was younger, my parents used to say it to me, and it wasn't like that. It was like, you crazy, nigga. Because I make a joke.
Mm-hmm.
So even with it being connected with ignorance, like you said, the word bitch being a term of endearment. I'm not here to debate with people who say, well, why are you using it as a term of endearment? I respect that. You're absolutely right. And going forward, knowing what it is, I can make a decision whether to continue to use the word and I'm okay with it, and somebody use it against me or use it with me, I'm okay with it, or just eradicate it, period. Because even in the music, if you don't want anybody to slip up and say that, then it should never even be used in the song. You should just use different words, because it's gonna come a point in time somebody's gonna rap it. Think about it. If you wasn't there, if they was closed off in a room and they was cleaning up their room or their house and your song came on, they was spitting the lyrics, you think they gonna blot out the word nigga when they spitting it and they by themselves?
But you know the intent of it, and that's why I say that weight lies with Kendrick. He was wrong. It wasn't the fan, it was him. If you feel like, I think at one point he was saying the word niggas is niggas, Negus is king, and you know that was a good word. But why didn't you put that in there so that when the song was rapped and the person that wasn't black said niggas, nobody would be offended? You have the power. You give the power to the word. So you don't want to change the word. You want to control what I say. And all across the board, if you don't know a person, you shouldn't be calling them anything other than their name, or you can get that work based on the tonality and the intention of whatever you call them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just limited to nigga or nigger. It's like if you say those, I know the intent. You're trying to get me upset because I'm black and you're trying to associate that word with me. So it's already a problem, right? But if you don't know me, and that's why Kyrie, that part he was right about, he doesn't like that word. But I'm sure it was shocking because they've all been in the, the whole sports and trash talking and all that. It probably threw the other player like, are you serious? Like, I know people have said worse to you, and you're about to try to educate me in this moment when you know we're going back and forth playing a game. You know I didn't mean it to try to call you like a nigger or downgrade you in the form of the word, the way it was used back with slaves and stuff like that. Like, this is not the moment to try to educate me. If afterwards you want to, hey, can I, let me talk to you. They shake hands, you guys still can, connect with each other off the court if you want to educate him. But now I'm been enlightened. You can't say that to me. And I get it. The guy took a risk, but in the black community, that word is very loosely used. We hear it in lyrics. You hear parents saying it to their kids, friends. And it's almost like the part that makes me laugh. It's like a power play. We could say it, but you can't. Don't you? You better not.
Here's the interesting part to me. We seem to always say that we make things cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
We the cool kids. We wear our clothes a certain way. We influence everybody to wear it. That's the whole thing behind the culture, especially in hip hop or rap. So if the world is heavily influenced by the culture, then you should automatically think whatever you say becomes cool. So I'm just saying
it makes sense what you're saying, but you know what? If that ties right back into what influencers and celebrities saying, I'm not a role model, that's a responsibility people don't want. They want to hold you accountable, but not have some accountability in, maybe I should change some of the lyrics so that I can make it a little bit easier for you, or I can know right away when you're trying to be negative towards me.
Well,
But
in the word,
the part I'm gonna do is Kendrick is not put that word in there, and everybody might laugh and be like, you crazy. So he gonna change his whole lyrics. Well, you still taking their money? Then give them a version that's different. And this is not just about Kendrick. The whole thing is just about these two words. It gets real crazy.
well, in the words of 50 Cent, you shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. I know you used the example about Kyrie and Schroeder when they had that incident, but just in general, when you reach a form of enlightenment, or let's say you found Jesus, in that moment, you found Jesus. So for you to run and hit somebody over the head or condemn them and start going crazy because all of a sudden you found, some form of enlightenment, you don't know where they are in that space. Like you said, you could have took the time out after the game to educate the man on something and have a conversation with him. And like I said, I want to be general. You want to have a conversation with somebody outside of the setting. For you to get mad at somebody for saying something, and especially with you being in this newfound transition of yours, you got to give somebody the benefit of the doubt before you start hitting them over the head with something or wanting to fight and do all this extra shit. It's like, okay, I feel you. My education on the word nigga ain't, let's just say it ain't where yours is. So give me an opportunity to get to where you are, or school me and give me an opportunity to make the mistake again if that happens. And then you have every right in the world to come at me sideways. But for you to be on like an enlightened path, and this go for anybody, this ain't just him, for you to finally find this enlightenment in what you doing, and then all of a sudden charge somebody up on a first offense, and you don't really know that person yourself either, and they don't really know you. I get the transgression there, I do. But for you to go all balls to wall like, oh, you ready to throw hands, that's not cool to me.
Well, here's my bottom line on the whole thing, because that's specific to the Kyrie situation. But just overall, I'm seeing that for people to get a better understanding or even feel better about what's going on, whether Kyrie didn't want him to call him a nigga, or Kendrick doesn't want the person to say the words, even though they're in his lyrics, we have to not just hold someone accountable, but accept some accountability and also put some work in to make some changes. I think Jay-Z did it when he had Blue. Wasn't bitch eliminated from the songs? Didn't he talk about he wasn't going to say the word bitch anymore because he had a daughter now? So this wasn't something we assumed. He said this. I'm sure I don't know if it was an interview, but that was out there. Like, I remember it being brought to me, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Now, some people could have been like, oh, now nobody can be a bitch anymore because you have a daughter. Or you could look at it as, not only is he saying I'm not going to use it anymore because I have a daughter, but also he's not putting that in the lyrics, his lyrical content going forward. So one, he was enlightened. And two, because of his enlightenment, he was going to put the necessary tools and resources out in the world for other people to be enlightened. And then he made an announcement too. He did a couple of things. I think that if I'm already walking around prepared, to let off on somebody if they say these two words, nigger, or even if it's something where, it's like bitch, all the words overall, barring, you not knowing a person specifically, tonality and intention, you should not be calling anybody anything. My grandmother, somebody would say, other than the child of God. No, my name. And if you don't know my name, you don't have the right to make it something else. But when you start kind of ducking off into those other areas, you run the risk of it being a problem. But whoever it's a problem with, I'm jumping on the other side, you might want to know, what you bringing the smoke for. If you're going to bring the anger and the intensity and all that, I need to know why. And not just because you've been enlightened now and the other person, you just going to let them have it. But you just came into this knowledge because you might have been that person a month ago saying the same thing, or these lyrics are in your song. It's not like you have two versions and this person had an option to say another word that wasn't offensive. You have this one version, they paid for that version, they're rapping the version, and now you're gonna tell them no. So bottom line, if you're gonna fight the war like that, you might want to equip not just yourself but others, and not go out, starting fires and getting angry and getting upset because you have a part to play in there as well for everybody to get better. Stop giving this stuff power. No matter how many times I say this, somebody still will listen and be like, that's crazy. What do you mean giving it power? You know what that word means. I know what a bunch of words mean. And if you call me them other than my name and I don't know you, it could be a problem. So it's not just those two words, and don't just put those with black people. It's like those words can really get you hot, but not some other words. I don't like being called stupid or an idiot. If a white person called me a nigger in the time that we're in, yeah, it's going to offend me because I know you're trying to bother me. But let's just really look at it. Am I a nigger? It's 2021. I'm not picking no cotton for you. This is no plantation. You not massa. And I can do a whole lot. You can get that work. And I know we still are dealing with things, where there's issues with the police and all that. But I'm just talking about for them to fix their mouth. They're really trying to get me worked up. And I'm not going to say I wouldn't like, whoa. But I know what you're trying to do. And we not even in those times anymore. And you're mad. You want me to feel like that. I'm not your nigger or nobody else's. You more of a nigger to me at that moment because you're ignorant. We got to do better. And if you want something changed as far as the word and stuff like that, you got to do your part in educating other people too. You can't be walking around feeling some type of way about the word. You can't say the word, but I can use the word.
And all those are great points, so I'll make sure not to reiterate anything that you said. My only thing is in your transition, not only thing, but one of my main takeaways for this or gems to you guys in the world, when you're making a transition, whether it's enlightenment on spirituality or refusing to use a word that you used to use, know that you have a past. So when you're in that transition, don't act like you've just been like this your whole life. Look at where you came from, how long it took you to get there, and be a little bit more reasonable when somebody else is around you in that regard, especially if it's not used in a crazy tonality or something that's derogatory to you. It's a term, especially when spirituality, when somebody first start getting into the word or whatever, people be like, oh, don't act like you holier than thou. That's my whole thing. When you're making your transition to get better, like you use the example about Jay-Z, how he explained why he won't be using it anymore. That's a good thing. So somebody hear that and it's like, oh, okay, damn, I'm with that. It took some growth and he explained about his past. I'm sure about, it was other songs, I was in a time of my life where I thought that was cool. That's a point being made on why he's not using it. So just going forward for anybody, that's my advice to you. When you're making whatever transition you are in life, whether it's, like I said, spirituality, words, whatever, just know that you had a place and point in your life where you were not who you were today. And if somebody is in the vicinity of you and you hear something you don't like or whatever the case may be, you can't just fire off like that. You have to give somebody an opportunity to grow just like you did. I just feel like when you fire off on people just with no regard, you forget that you were that person before. So that's where I'm at with it. I wasn't trying to single out a specific person or anything because it happens all the time with just different situations. It would just so happen we use those two examples, but that's my main ordeal.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggested topic, or you want to keep this conversation going, you can shoot us an email at realfitradio@gmail.com. Our podcast drops every Monday. You can catch the latest snippet on our Instagram at realfitradio. If you're not following us, you definitely should be. As always, we hope this empowered, impacted, or inspired someone. Until next time.